Okay, anyway, so let's actually go to the more I wouldn't say necessarily concerning thing, but the more interesting thing. Ah, yes, The Last of Us 2.
Oh, okay. We should
Oh
probably
God, what a
broach this
shitstorm
subject.
that is right
I
now.
have not heard what the controversy is about.
You
Can
haven't
guys-
heard all of the
can
fucking
you guys
people
tell me about it?
raging.
Okay, so let me explain, Randy, if it's okay. Let
Yeah,
me
go.
explain.
Please do.
Yeah, okay. So I'm gonna explain this to Peter and you guys, the audience. So what's happening was before it released a few months ago, most of the plot actually got leaked.
Oh, that's not
That's
good.
interesting.
So I'm not going to spoil what happened, but one of the main characters dies. One of the antagonists was apparently trans, and there was going to be a lesbian relationship, which the lesbian relationship I kind of find hilarious because there was already in the Last of Us 1 with the main character, not the other one, but the other main character, and as a DLC, and it's kind of like, okay, we already know she's a lesbian, like whatever, and people got mad at that more or less.
Got mad at what?
Of the leaks of like the enemy killing off one of the main characters,
Huh.
having
Yes, no. So this
the enemies
is
being
controversial because
trans,
I
and
have
like
heard.
mhm.
Yes, no. What were you saying?
So let me just finish with my understanding. But initially, what people were mad at, like, oh, they killed one of the main people, one of the main characters. The enemy is a trans woman, apparently, because that's a issue, I guess. And there's a lesbian relationship, and that's been a thing in Last of Us 1 as well. So at least that's before the game got released, you
Right.
know.
Yeah.
So no,
Well,
here's this other controversy with the game being released is because a bunch of critics are either praising it or not. Most people are saying this plot's great and the gameplay is good. Well, people are saying, wait, that's bullshit. Like, people are getting mad because they was already mad with the whole game initially. And people are saying the gameplay didn't really evolve. The plot's whatever. Some people either like it or don't like it. Which I find is like fair enough. And people are mad that these reviewers are giving like nearly 100%, if that makes sense, or like 90s people calling chills, like chills, like good or bad. And there are people who like didn't review it well, but they're getting mad now as well. Like not at the like other reviewers, at the people who are using them to compare. It's like it's our own opinion. Fuck off, more or less. And there was this YouTuber, Skill Up. Him and his team reviewed a game, and The Last of Us 2 said it's an okay game. It's not my cup of tea. It didn't really involve in my opinion, whatever. It's fine. But he didn't really say anything. It was like a terrible game. But people were using it as a more burning wood to put more to the fire. And he just got fucking pissed off at that more or less. And I think he took it down.
Fair.
And you see a bunch of this whole controversy about the reviews. It's like, wait, what about stuff? Other games, it's like, oh, remakes, like the Bikini Bottom.
Rehydrated.
Yeah, that more sense. Say, oh, why you gave it a 5 out of 10, even though you're comparing the same thing more or less. Like it didn't evolve that much, And here I'm just thinking, it's like, Jesus fucking Christ,
Yeah.
It's like, it's not a bad game. I've seen it. It's like, I'm not defending because I haven't played it at all. I've seen the plot. It's like, whatever. I was never really a big fan of the first game anyway, so it's like, it's fine, whatever. I can see where the logic is coming from here.
Yeah.
And then the gameplay, it's like, the gameplay hasn't aged poorly, if you haven't realized that. People aren't complaining about the gameplay today, what I mean, from the old game, right? And most of the stuff that was complained, they usually fixed it. It just seems like there are new issues, mind you, with the gameplay, but like most of that old stuff from the old game seem to be resolved by what most people have said. So it's just people being, in my eyes, just being angry for the sake of angry,
Yeah.
Well, so I should say up front, before I say anything, I have not played this game.
Yeah, same
here.
here.
Therefore, my opinion on it is not strong.
Yeah.
Anything I say here, I don't like. Even if I'm like, I fucking hate this game, it's not even fully meant because I'd never played it, so I can't give an opinion on it.
Yeah.
But echoing the news that I've heard, these are the issues I've seen. It was kind of what the beef is, and just some general aspects. First of all, what I've heard is that the way that main character from the first game dies is in a decision right at the beginning that's just kind of bullshit. And obviously, if you kill off one of your most beloved characters from the first game at the very beginning of the second game in a stupid way, people aren't going to like that. They're going to get really annoyed.
No.
I heard about that, like, because I kept up with some news about the first game. So when I heard that at the start of the second game, I'm like, huh, that sounds pretty dumb. And everyone was like, yeah, it is fucking dumb. Which was fair.
It doesn't make sense, does it? Yeah.
It just makes a tad bit of sense. The other thing that I just wanted to say about this game in general, I don't know if people's issue with it is that it didn't like evolve from a gameplay perspective. I don't know what you were expecting.
Yeah.
All the news I heard about the first game was like, oh, it's like a cinematic story. It's
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It tells a very strong narrative. It does all this plot stuff. What were you expecting? Like, it was never gonna get like super crazy gameplay enhancements because that's not why the first game was popular. If the first game was popular because it was a fun game, second game would have been fun too, but it wasn't. It was popular for telling a story.
Yeah.
So that's why the second game focused on telling a story. There was an announcement made by the person who made The Last of Us 2, which was when we make this game, we don't talk about fun or we don't use the word fun. It's like, that's the dumbest fucking thing I've ever heard in my life.
I mean,
what the fuck is your goal then?
I mean, if I play devil's advocate here real quick, Randy, at least for the first thing. So with the whole killing of one of the main characters, what's happened was actually, I guess it's partly near the end of the game, the main character was trying to save the other main character, you know.
Yeah.
And more or less, so
spoilers
it was
from here on out. Joel saved or tried to save
spoilers
Ellie.
Here. Yeah. So what happened was Joel killed one of the doctors that were trying to make a cure. You know, he killed the doctors trying to find a cure of the virus, more or less. And the main character, not Abby, but Ellie. Ellie was more or less the person who had the cure in her body, like she was immune to that thing, and they were trying to make a vaccine out of that. But things for it to be made, she would have had to die.
I had to get some shit out of her brain.
You know, and more or less, Joel just said fuck that and killed everyone, more or less. And he never told Ellie about that at all, you know. Because Ellie, if I remember correctly in the game, she said she would die for a vaccine or something for everyone to use, if I remember correctly. I might be wrong, okay?
I don't know about that, but
so don't quote me on that part. But more or less, he killed everyone without her consent, more or less. And then we see her after in the second game, you see the daughter of the doctor more or less kill Joel in the same way almost, if that makes sense.
I feel ya.
You know, sort of like a juxtaposition, if that makes sense. You understand what I'm saying, Randy?
As I said, I haven't played it, so I don't know how. The thing about that, though, it really just depends on how well it's done.
Yeah, exactly. I think that's the main issue. You know, it wasn't really well done in my eyes either.
Yeah, that's sort of the problem, is that if you're gonna murder one of your characters, it has to be done really well. Otherwise, everyone's gonna think it's the dumbest shit in the world.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, to be frank, I don't know how much of that was if it didn't got leaked, if how many people have been angry about that. I'm just being honest.
I don't know.
You know,
because
if it wasn't leaked, there probably would have been people have probably been praising that.
Praising it for what?
Like not necessarily praising, but won't be angry at that if that makes sense.
I don't know how the leak has. If it's a sloppy character death, it's a sloppy character death. No amount of leaking is going to change that.
No, that's true. But like I think the death, it was not necessarily sloppy because I saw the cutscene. It's like, okay, you know, like whatever. You know, it's like fine, I guess. Like because again, I don't have any emotional.
That's not a good thing. That's pretty bad, actually.
To be frank, I know I was never big in the first game, so I was like, whatever, yeah, fuck Joel, you know, already. Because I saw that and it's like, what the fuck? Why is he this retarded? You know, like I understand like he's your daughter more or less and all, but it's like, dude, I think it's her choice, you know, not yours. And it's like, then I see it's like, yeah, I can see the point. I can agree with the person like that. I could actually agree with the enemy, like, yeah, she was not portrayed in a good light, but you see why later on, if that makes sense, throughout the game. You know, but again, we haven't played the game either, so we can't really talk about our own qualitative opinion on that, if that makes sense. You know, they're just seeing it from the other people's eyes mainly.
Yeah,
right. And the thing is, like with that
bring it up so people know what the consensus is online and how people feel.
You know, true. And second part is with that with the whole thing, it's not supposed to be fun. You see, for a long time, you know, video games have been trying to imitate movies, and kind of vice versa, almost. You know, with the whole like, have you ever watched like something like Citizen Kane?
I have never seen Citizen Kane.
Heard of it, but I've never watched it.
Yeah, but like you see these movies where it's like more than a movie. Would you say it's like an actual story to tell? You know, you're not trying to make merchandising off of that. You know, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
And then that's where the second people are pissed off as well. Where they're saying it's like people are saying like take the story as seriously as if it's like an actual movie, like something like Schindler's List or something. It's like, no, it's a fucking game. You're making merchandise out of this. You know,
Mhm.
last time I remember, Schindler's List didn't have a fucking a bobblehead. No, did it?
The
You know,
fucking
yes,
Schindler's
the great
List.
movie about the German businessman literally using Jewish slave labor during the Holocaust. You know,
But here's the thing: I'm not saying this game has to be marketable. I'm just saying that, like, if you're making a game and your game isn't fun, why the fuck did you make it?
yeah, no, that's fair enough. Because what I've been hearing is like the game, like I think he was talking about plot wise, not gameplay wise.
I don't know, because I don't know the exact meaning of the quote, but just as a general, hold on, I guess I should probably look it up.
Yeah, because from what I've seen, the gameplay, it's like it's nothing really has gone like it fixed issues from the old game, but it's like whatever, you know, it's like nothing really, I guess, mind blowing. Like it's I was something like it seems like I would enjoy, you know, but it's not something I would get like, you know, mad at, you know, or won't have fun with, if that makes sense.
Yes.
So I assume he was talking about plot wise, you know, not actual gameplay.
I found an article about it. What's it? We don't use the word fun, says Last of Us director to Neil Druckmann. For us, with The Last of Us specifically, Uncharted's a little different. We don't use the word fun. Druckmann told BuzzFeed when asked if the team ever tries to make combat less serious. We say engaging, and it might be a minor distinction, but it's an important one. I believe that if we are invested in the character and the relationships and their goal, then we're going to go along on their journey with them and maybe even commit acts that make us uncomfortable across our moral lines. Maybe get us to ask questions about where we stand on righteousness and pursuing justice at ever escalating costs.
So it's mainly talking about the plot, then not really gameplay. From what I would.
Gameplay was definitely included in there. It's just that we don't use the word fun.
Yeah. So I think it was just sensationalized. You know, that's what's been happening. Mainly, it's just been sensationalized. And people who are out of the loop said the game's fine. There's nothing really wrong with it. That's what my understanding is. People just say it's like not as fun as the old one. You know.
But that's the problem, is that the first one, from my understanding of the first one, from what I heard, well, it told a good story. It was still just also like a good game. Like it was just well made and fun to play. And also it told a really interesting and riveting emotional story.
Yeah.
Do that. That's awesome. I'm 100% into that. But if you make a game that is like, oh, we don't care about if the game's fun, we care about the story we're telling, then make a fucking movie. I don't care anymore.
Yeah, exactly, right?
Yeah.
Like, go in a different medium then. You're in the wrong medium for that.
I mean, to be frank, you should tell that to Hideo Kojima then. I'm just being honest.
Yeah, but his games are really still fucking fun.
Have you seen his new one, Death Stranding?
But I've only so, once again, a game I haven't played. I have only heard like that game is at least fun.
People like my understanding. People are saying it should have just been a movie, more or less.
Fair.
You know,
I've just heard the core gameplay loop of delivering packages and fucking around and peeing on ghosts.
Yeah, I don't know. I just heard it's like I heard people just like either say it's like it's good or it's like it's not good. You know, it's like it was far more divisive from what I've heard. Like as a plot wise, it was really again it's Hideo Kojima games. They're always a total mess. You know what I mean?
I mean, Metal Gear Solid 5 went over well.
Well, here's the thing: like the Metal Gear games, you know, it's like it's mainly you just have to deal with long cutscenes and nothing else. The gameplay is usually bearable in those games, if that makes sense.
Yeah, people like Snake Man.
Yeah, but the thing with Death Stranding, it was literally just a walking simulator, you know.
Fair.
As like at that point, I started watching cutscenes, you know. It's like I have nothing yet to do Kojima or people have worked on it. Again, like nothing with Naughty Dog either as well. But it's like you said, Randy, if you're trying to make a good plot, then make it a fucking movie, you know.
Yeah,
no, it makes understandable if you want to make a plot that transverses something, that maybe do something a bit different, like something like with maybe Spec Ops: The Line, where it was like more like looks like a generic third-person shooter, but the plot was fucking great, you know. It was like, holy fuck, what am I doing, you know?
That game's got a good fucking plot.
Yeah, you know, and here's the thing: it subverted the expectations.
Yeah, and the thing is that that game, as most people agree, the gameplay is bleh, the story is really good. I can accept that.
And the thing is,
I'm not saying your game has to be like fucking, oh my god, so riveting. I'm just saying that it's like, if you're reaching the point where you're sacrificing interesting gameplay for a narrative, what are you doing?
Yeah, just like
I mean, I don't know, right? It depends. It's like in certain cases, like in the final, like what Spec Ops: Line, you know, you were slowly losing your teammates, more or less.
Okay.
You know,
I don't see what that has to do with anything I've just said.
what I'm saying is like it makes sense to some extent if you're trying to have a narrative-driven game, you know, where you sometimes sacrifice the gameplay. I'm not talking about it in the sense of like, you know, like what are you describing as sacrificing gameplay? Can you give me an example,
Well,
Randy?
I'm talking about how like in the first Last of Us
Mhm.
game, people are like, yeah, like this is a fun game, and also, oh my god, this story's so good.
Mhm.
But in the Last of Us 2, everyone's like, this game's shit. It's not good. Story's whatever, but game's not good, so it doesn't matter.
Mhm.
When your
'Cause-
gameplay isn't
Mhm.
fun,
Mhm.
then why are you making a game?
Fair enough. I mean, again, like if you're
I mean,
using
you
that
could
logic, then why was
always make a
Spec Ops
game.
The Line made then?
Because its gameplay is passable and it has a good story.
Mhm.
That's the thing. I'm not saying your gameplay has to be good. I'm just saying
Mhm.
if your gameplay is bad, why are you making it?
Yeah, don't make
Okay.
a game for the sake of making a game.
Yeah. But here's the thing, though. Why don't people at Naughty Dog thought the plot was actually good, you know, and they actually made the game?
That's what I'm saying. Regardless of the plot, if the game isn't good, why are you making it?
Mm-hmm.
You're like, if you want to make a super narrative game,
Mhm.
and those exist, good ones of those exist too. Like fucking, regardless, if you want to make a game that is heavily narrative,
Mhm.
if the game itself isn't at least to some degree passable, then it doesn't matter how good your story is. No one's gonna care.
Yeah.
And
No, that's true.
Inside, did anyone ever play Inside?
Inside.
No,
Is this like a limbo game?
I think, or it might be Outside. Regardless, it's got a side. It's basically you walk to the right and solve some puzzles.
Mm-hmm.
The gameplay is whatever. You walk to the right, you solve some puzzles. If it happens, sure.
Mm-hmm.
But the narrative is really interesting. The
Yeah.
gameplay is passable, and the narrative is interesting.
Yeah.
The Last of Us game, it's whatever. It's zombie survival. Yeah, sure, that's good. It's passable. The gameplay is passable. The narrative is interesting. Good game. The Last of Us 2, what I'm hearing, the gameplay is blech. The narrative is still pretty good, but has some flaws. That's not a good game. That doesn't matter. You fucked it up.
I mean, my understanding with the gameplay was just nothing much had changed, more or less.
Do people still think it's fun to play? Because if it's still fun to play, it's pass.
Yeah, I mean, my understanding is like people are just saying, you know, it's fine or it's fun. You know, it's like it's not saying it's like bad or anything. The gameplay, you know.
Okay.
From
And
what I've heard, like stuff like the most critical one review I've seen so far is like from Moist Critical, you know, Charlie. And he said he
Yeah,
gave it a 55%. You know, so it's above average. There's nothing wrong with the game. The gameplay is fine, but sometimes I got bored with it. You know, near the end. You know, again, I'm paraphrasing what he's saying again, but still though, a lot is just like, you know, it's fine, nothing really bad. And I think people are just having too high expectations, really.
Perhaps that's
You know.
something that happens.
Yeah, that's my take on the whole shitstorm. And also, what I find hilarious, there are people either dead serious or literally joking about like stuff with the plot and gameplay. You know, it's like, and people and these like, you know, the gamers TM. You know, there are people taking this legitimately serious. It's like, what the fuck? These people are trolling you. Do you not realize this?
Who knows?
Like, do you hear about the
It's all weird.
news where some people were saying like, oh yes, Ellie's the first playable female character in a video game?
Yeah,
You know,
I saw that. I'm like, what the fuck?
like I'm pretty sure there was like satire, and people were taking it like dead serious. It's like, dude, you not understand a joke?
Well, counterpoint. Some people are dumbasses.
Fair enough,
That's
like
fine.
you and
You
me,
you
Randy.
never
But I
know
mean,
who's-
besides the point.
It's hard to tell on the internet, especially when it comes to video games. It's
Yeah.
hard to tell when a news outlet is taking the piss or if they're just really fucking stupid.
True.
Could be both.
It can be both.
Yes,
That's
Call of Duty Black Ops 3.
There's definitely a percentage of people that like can't take a fucking joke, and there's definitely a chance that article was posted
It wasn't
genuinely
an article,
serious.
it's a tweet.
Well, I don't know. I didn't read it. I didn't
No,
see
it's
it.
fine. But it was just like a tweet, more or less, and it was not serious. It was like a satire, and people were taking it so serious. I saw it on Reddit, and people were like, "Why are people taking this so seriously?" It's just literally just
Yep. I don't know. It's all weird.
no. And yeah, I don't know. I just found it like
Why I
so.
stick
that
with Gato
shitstorm-
Roboto.
Yeah, that's just it's just a fucking shitstorm, more or less.
Yep.
But anyway, so yeah, Peter, do you have anything to say?
About what you just said or something new?
Just in general.
Yeah, in general.
I mean, fucking Apex Legends coming to Steam? Is that?
Oh, is it?
Probably.
Yeah, it's like on like there's like a introduction, like to be announced date.
Mm-hmm.
Definitely coming.
Ooh.
Okay,
Yeah,
that's
so I don't know
nice.
how you guys feel about that. I've played battle royale games before. I haven't
Apex is
played this
good.
one specifically.
I
good?
have always had fucking shit with. I've never liked battle royale games.
Mm-hmm.
Oh yeah, I played Apex once at your house, right, Randy?
Yeah, you probably
Yeah,
did.
yeah.
Yeah, I never liked battle royale games. However, I have a lot of friends that like them, so I end up. I want to be sociable, so I just play them as a group activity.
Yeah.
Yep, I'm sure I could go on a fucking 10-minute rant about why I don't like battle royales. And I think they're dumb conceptually.
I mean,
Tell us, Randy, why do you think they're dumb
definitely not the
conceptually?
worst of
That's what
battle
I'm
royale
interested.
games.
Are we sure we want to cover this topic today? There's a lot of stuff to talk about.
I mean, it's on average like an hour or so. So I mean, I've been writing timestamps more or less.
It's up to if you really want me to, I can broach this topic today,
Sure.
or I can save it.
What
Let's do
topic?
it.
Oh, okay, sure. Here we go. Let's talk about this. If you're a friend of mine and you're listening to this, you already know exactly what I'm gonna fucking say because I've already said it 1,000 times.
Oh God.
I think a game that is best played by not playing is the stupidest fucking concept in the whole world. Because here's the problem with the battle royale. You are facing 100 other players, or 99 other players. You're the 100th.
Mhm.
And so if, let's say, at the start of the game, or even in the middle of the game, you get into a
Mhm.
fight, you shoot them, you use up some ammo. So you use up some ammo, use up some health because you got shot as well, I'm assuming.
Mhm.
Probably whatever the fucking resources you used up. And then now, when the next guy finds you and you have to fight them, you're weaker. And that keeps going. Every time you fight someone, you get a little bit weaker. You get fucked up a little bit. You have to spend more
Mhm.
resources. So the best way to play is to not play. It's to hide and just
Mhm.
wait until everyone kills everyone and you're in the last 4. I recently went over to a friend's house with another friend, and we said, "Hey, let's all play," because they had Fortnite installed. Hey, let's all play Fortnite, and we'll see who
Mhm.
makes it to the highest place, and that's the winner. And everyone immediately counted me out because I have the aim of a fucking gopher. I'm really bad at shooters. I don't like them, but whatever.
Yeah, just give me a moment.
I placed first in all of the rounds because instead of doing what they did, where they ran around and looked for guns and got into fights, I found a bush and I waited for 20 minutes. It's not fun. It's not interesting. I've played games where you run around and you shoot everyone, but that lowers your chances of winning. And it's like, if you want to win, don't
You
play.
just hide.
Why?
Easy.
That's so fucking dumb. Because it's not even like the matches are like 5-10 minutes. They're like 40 minutes long.
Yeah.
I don't get it.
That's my experience with playing them as well. Yeah.
Yeah, whenever I play, I just run around with reckless abandon and kill as many people as I can and then die.
Yeah.
That's
And
what I
it's
usually do.
At least I try to do that.
Yeah, it's like whatever. Yeah, it's a good time. I can get a good number of kills in a game. I'm not the worst at it. But it's not the best way to play. It's the whole time you're playing is just niggling in the back of your mind like could be winning. It's
Fair enough.
an inherently stupid gameplay loop where you're
that is true.
incentivized to not be a part of it. Battle Royales upset me, and I think they're dumb.
Really fucking riled up about it.
I do. It's fucking. I don't. Whatever. PUBG or whatever came out. Minecraft Hunger Games came out first. I was like, oh, we should play Minecraft Hunger Games. I'm like,
I mean, at least it's harder to like hide in Minecraft Hunger Games.
Yeah, it's not easy to hide actually, which is kind of funky. It's really easy to fucking hide in like Fortnite or whatever.
Yeah, no. But actually,
it's my whole life. People have been like, oh my god, battle royales, and I'm like, it's kind of dumb. But they just keep being popular, so I just keep having to put up with them,
despite the differences.
To be frank, like the most, at least in my opinion, the more fun battle royale games to play are like the ones on mobile, more or less, because those are far more shorter mobile. So
I could give a whole fucking another.
Oh COD, yeah.
You were talking about me getting upset, and mobile games annoy me to no end.
Oh, no, fair enough. Because the thing is, okay, I might rant on mobile games. Peter, finish what you're gonna say. Then I might rant on that. Okay.
Right. So yeah, I was gonna say like PUBG Mobile's like the same thing as the PUBG on like any other platform. Basically, you just like find a house, you just get a few guns, and then run to the center of the zone and hide.
Yeah. Okay.
Just how it is.
No, fair enough. So, no, let me start bitching about games on smartphones, I'm a
Go for
smartphone
it.
enthusiast, Randy knows this, and Randy hates me for that, but fine
I
by
don't
me.
hate you for it. I just don't think they're interesting.
No, that's understandable, but you know what really pisses me off? Games on smartphones, how many times do you use your smartphone most of the time, when you're doing action, like scrolling through your feed? What mode do you use, portrait or landscape?
I am on an iPad, so I use landscape.
Okay, but if you're on your phone, you usually use portrait, right? Now you're scrolling through your feed or something, right?
Right.
Yeah.
Unless you're watching some movie or something, like a cutscene or something, like you put it in landscape then, right?
Yeah.
But with fucking games,
getting
the best games I ever played were always in portrait modes, on smartphones. Never in landscape. Fucking why?
Never played a fucking phone game in portrait mode. I guess I played like game Words with Friends, maybe.
Yeah, like what games are you playing to get in portrait mode? The fuck?
Yeah, that's pretty weird.
I mean, it's
What
usually
are you playing? Candy Crush?
No, not Candy Crush.
Words with Friends, Subway Surfer. I guess there's a couple.
Yeah,
Subway
no, like
Surfer is pretty good.
some games where the thing is on smartphones there's very limited controls because of the size of the phone. Unless you have a LG V60 or it's gaming phone where it literally has built-in controls, That's a different
If you
story.
have a gaming
Then.
phone, just play it on the computer.
I mean, to be frank, gaming phones are cheaper than computers still, so I'll give you that. But I'm sorry. But my whole beef is with gaming on smartphones is that the controls are shit, and the screen is small as fuck if you're trying to play in landscape,
Are you like only talking about shooters or?
No, not on shooters in general. If you're trying to play a game in fucking landscape, why the fuck would you play on landscape?
What? I don't know what you're getting. I mean, most games only allow you to play on landscape, right?
It depends on the game, because I've seen games that are like, I guess you'd say, I wouldn't say not like visual novels, but like games that are like management games, if that makes sense. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Like not something like necessarily
like
I don't know how to describe it. Like not in the sense of like Sims, but like something around like some like style of gameplay. You know what I mean? Like you're micromanaging a lot of stuff.
Yeah.
It makes sense to play in more portrait. It makes sense for that. I think that's where playing games on smartphones are played the most fun. Where you're just managing stuff, or just like, or it's a plot-driven game. But if it's something in landscape, most of the time it's kind of shit because you have a bunch of controls, and especially with FPS, it's like, why the fuck would I play an FPS on my phone without an actual controller? At that point, let me just play it on my TV.
Well, so that's the inherent problem with smartphone games.
Yeah,
that they do not submit to their hardware. They try to be a lot of shit.
Yeah,
that they should not.
They
be.
do not.
Counterpoint, card games.
There are games that are
card games. Yeah,
on phone. Like what's it? Card games, strategy games, management game, anything that's like slow. You can take your time. You can look at it. Even like there are faster games that, like what's it? Angry Birds, Subway Surfer.
Oh yeah, Subway Surfers. Hell yeah.
Yeah, exactly. Like there are even faster games. The problem comes when you try to take things that should not be on a phone.
Yeah.
Put them on a phone. For example.
That's like my main beef. It's like I understand if you're trying to port something like KOTOR, some RPG game on like old one like 2 decades ago, on your phone.
That's fucking terrible.
I mean, it depends. Like if you're planning to hook up your phone to like a TV and like use a Bluetooth controller, I think that's nice. It's like, hey, I'm not complaining about that's fun to do. If you don't have an actual PC or the console.
The problem comes more when you play it on your phone.
Yeah, no, that's my main beef. It's like Jesus Christ. I understand like, oh, you can play on your phone, but just let me just use my phone as a mini PC so I can just play it on my desktop or on my like TV.
What's it like mobile MOBAs and like fucking shooters? I don't get because you're using up so much screen real estate to move around and fire abilities and shit, and it's like it's just a worst experience.
Yeah,
it's not good. It's the mobile medium was never built for you to like play a dual stick game.
I mean, it depends. There's some phones that are built like that, but That's
what I'm saying is that there's like it's a whole other. You have to get a special device. Could you imagine you had to get a second Xbox or whatever so you could play fucking MOBAs or whatever shooter games?
Oh,
it doesn't make sense.
Don't.
Just stick to your medium. Stick to the things you're good at.
No, I can understand if you want to like.
Awesome game. Flappy Bird or not Flappy? Yeah, I mean, sure, to an extent, Flappy Bird. Angry Birds, phenomenal. There are legitimately really good phone games.
Yeah,
And
no.
those games are good because they apply to the medium that they're set in.
I mean, to be frank, Randy, if I'm gonna be honest, I've played some good phone FPS games, but here's the thing. Here's the kicker: they're not complex. The gameplay, they understand the screen size, they understand your real estate. They don't spam you with controls. It's basic, but it's entertaining.
What I'm saying is that's not like it's never gonna be the same. It's never gonna be as fucking.
Yeah, that's
good.
a given.
It's just all shrunken. It's just less.
Yeah, games like platformers, those are a good example where it actually makes it sense to play it. I'm playing one right now, and it makes sense to.
Platformers on a phone, I'm still pretty meh with.
I don't know. Like for me, platformers on phones are pretty fine. It's like the controls, like it's not complex. You need like 3 or 4 controls at max. Nothing else.
It comes back to that same problem of when you have to put your hands on your display. You're using up a lot of that screen real estate. And
that's why people buy large phones, Randy, as well,
I have a fucking iPad. I know better than everyone. It's still bad.
I mean, I don't know, Randy. If you're a fucking idiot, and here's the thing. How do you play on your iPad? Do you play with a keyboard, controller, or just...
I play with my hands like a person might.
Gee, and you're a fucking idiot. Okay, thank you, Randy.
I'm not gonna fucking spend a shitload of money for an iPad or the keyboard.
Don't buy. I'm not saying just buy a Bluetooth. Just use a Bluetooth keyboard. That's it.
Why would I spend money on that? What end?
I mean, I don't know. Like I've seen, like I don't know. You don't have like a Bluetooth keyboard or controller to just play your games on?
Because why would I do that?
Don't you have a Switch controller?
No, I have a Switch Lite.
Oh yeah, sorry about that.
Regardless, like why would you spend money on a wireless fucking controller or whatever? Shit's relevant. Shit's irrelevant. Like it's like, oh my god, then you can play shooters on your iPad. Why would I do that though? It's not what it's made for.
Okay, no, I see what you mean. Okay, I thought you were saying like, oh yeah, I play shooters on my iPad. It's like, Randy, what the fuck are you doing?
No, I think they're dumb. I hate that because the thing that upsets me the most is when a game comes out is legitimately interesting and sounds really fun to play, and then you find that it's only on mobile, and it's like, I hate you.
Yeah,
I would steal this from me.
Like the thing with mobile games in general, it's like if it's like a shooter RPG, I would like connect my phone to my TV and just start playing it from there.
Else. Play it on my fucking computer or my Xbox or a Switch Lite. Like there's a million billion better places to put an RPG or a shooter. Why are you putting it on a fucking phone?
I mean, to be frank, personally, for me, like at least with stuff like that, there's some legitimate reason, but not to play on your phone, if that makes sense. Because a lot of phones you can actually output to your TV now or your computer.
Have you ever tried to play a MOBA on a console?
Why would the fuck would I play a MOBA on a console?
Exactly. It doesn't work. It's yucko.
Exactly. But what I'm saying, Randy, is
one MOBA that works on a console and it plays like no other MOBA.
Wait, which one are you talking about?
Smite. You control instead of controlling Smite how you do with most MOBAs, where you click where you want to walk. It's controlled with like the left stick and the right, like it's dual stick with the triggers. And that is the only MOBA that works on a fucking console because it understands where it is and what it's good at.
Yeah. Yeah, but like the thing is, my beef with like most games, it's like at least on phones, it's like, okay, cool, let me output this to a TV and like let me just use it as like a mini console or like a mini PC or something, and just like play it from there, But most games don't support it, which I just find mind fucking boggling. Where you have stuff like Netflix and Hulu and like Amazon Prime that fucking do it, It's like,
because it's a really recent idea using your phone.
It's not a fucking recent idea, right? It's been a thing for like the last 5 years.
Common.
Windows Phone had that. Fucking Windows Phone.
Yeah. No one gives a shit about the Windows Phone either. So who cares what it had?
I'm just saying, for the past 10 years, we have this idea for many years, and it's like, yeah, let's actually start doing this more common, actually fucking integrate into goddamn Android, That's my second beef with like this Android in general. It's like, why the fuck is this not baked into the OS already,
Because it's a fucking underused feature that no one cares about or is asking for.
I mean, I don't know, Randy. Many people were asking for this earlier, many years ago,
You're the first person I've heard who's been like, oh, let me use my phone as a mini console. And it's like, why not just buy a fucking regular console?
Because some people are poor, Randy.
Well,
Then buy a secondhand console. You can get a fucking PlayStation 2 for very little money. For less money than
Randy, I don't think you realize if you try to buy a console in Pakistan, where do you think you can buy a fucking console?
You're not in Pakistan, Umar.
I know, but most of my family, who play games, they mostly play on their smartphones. I'm the only one who actually plays on my fucking PC.
If they can afford a smartphone, it feels like it'd be way cheaper to just buy a secondhand console at that point.
Randy, do you not realize how fucking expensive? Like, here's the thing: a smartphone is literally the only PC they use, if that makes sense.
I threw up in my mouth.
You okay, Randy?
Yeah, you good?
Yeah, that's fine. I'm very sick today.
Okay.
Sure.
Okay, yeah. Sorry about that. If I,
Oh no, it's fine. It's not your fault. It's just how my body works.
Okay,
Regardless of the point.
But still, like, Randy.
Coming back to the argument.
But here's the thing: the only reason why people play smartphones is because most of the time it's the only PC they have. I've seen many kids who don't even have an actual fucking laptop. As the Chromebook was their first fucking laptop.
It feels like there has to be a cheaper alternative, though. Phones are not fucking cheap.
Randy, you can buy a $200 phone that works fine.
You can buy a much cheaper PlayStation.
Here's the thing: are you going to invest?
You know what, guys? I think we should move on from this. We're taking way too much.
No, Peter. I'm going to fight. I'm going to die on this damn hill if necessary. I don't know if you realize, it's like comparing a console to a PC, Yeah, a PC is more powerful and can do more, but it's more expensive. But here's the thing, it can do more. A phone can do more than a goddamn console.
The issue is cost. Get a cheaper thing.
Here's the thing, if it's cost, it's like, here's the thing, would you rather do the things, one that can do most things pretty well, or one that does only one thing specific and nothing else? For the same price, and you only have that much money.
Well, it depends on the situation that I'm in. If I want to play games, I will get a cheap way to play games. It's like, hey, I really need a knife. Oh, okay, here's a Swiss Army knife. Thanks. Technically, this is an answer to what my question is, but it's not what I was looking for.
I mean, here's the thing. The thing is, we live in a really rich country. We're pretty well off compared to most other people, So
yes, obviously.
We have the benefit of using a smartphone, a PC, and a game console, where we can play on anything device. This is really a first world issue more than anything else. But you see places where it's like people may not have the cash, to actually buy a console or a PC, and like their smartphone is the only device they have to use it.
What I'm saying is, if you're going out of your way to buy a smartphone, especially like a good smartphone that like runs games and shit.
Yeah.
Like, if you're doing that for the purpose of running games, why not get a cheaper smartphone that doesn't run games, but is a smartphone for all intensive purposes, like making phone calls and texts?
Yeah.
And then buy a cheap, like a used PlayStation, like something cheap, some other fucking console.
And here's the thing, Randy, people do that.
That's what I'm saying you should do.
Okay, I see what you're saying now. Okay, now I see what you're saying. I thought you were talking about something entirely different. Okay, sorry.
Oh, yeah, you're saying like, oh, you should, like, they have a fucking expensive smartphone that plays games. Why? If you want to play games, get a cheap smartphone that doesn't play games.
I see.
Get
Okay,
a fucking console.
Okay, now I see what you're talking about. I was confused. I thought you were talking about like, you should always do that. It's like, Randy, I don't think most people don't have that choice to do that.
That's what I'm saying.
Now I see what you mean. Yeah, I understand what you're saying.
People aren't going to have to worry about it. But if you're specifically trying to play games, don't go find another workaround solution. Just get a thing to play them cheaply if you don't have the money.
Yeah.
There are methods.
Yeah, the thing is like, yeah.
I just, I never understood this, and I may never understand it. But it's just, I don't understand why you would go out of your way to do something in a worse way.
I don't think most people do that on purpose. You know what I mean?
Yeah. I
Because
think
like my cousins, they don't. It's like, yeah, let me buy a smartphone instead of console. It's their only access to play a video game. If that makes sense,
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
course. I mean, I was young. Like, it shit happened. I get it. I understand the concept of like, you don't have money, you just do what you do.
Yeah, no, I understand what you mean. Like, oh, why are you buying? No, that's what I never understood about gaming phones in general. I can understand like accessories for that. If it's like, oh, you don't have enough money to buy a console because you have other issues to do. But here's like a $10 accessory to play. With a controller. More or less. It's like, okay,
like, well, yeah, if that's your only option, then yeah, sure, fuck it. Who am I?
Yeah, that's not my issue. Like, my issue is just mainly with like smartphone game. It's like, because most people are like, I don't know if you realize, right, PCs and laptops are kind of dying out for anything that isn't really for gaming, it's kind of like dying out, if that makes sense. Most people are doing their stuff on their phones now.
I know. I do all my work on my iPad.
Yeah, I know. Yeah, you understand what I'm saying, right? Like most people don't really use their laptops or desktop as like, as they used to. So it's like it makes sense for people saying like these companies like making games on their phones. They just really haven't adapted how to use a phone. They don't really know. But I guess even after, I know it takes time and years, but it's like if you want to have RPGs or FPS, it's you have to think far more differently on how to do it on a phone than on a PC.
It's just fundamentally different.
Yeah, fundamentally, there's nothing inherently wrong with a genre of a FPS or a RPG, because I played RPGs on my phones and like the ones that are like portrait mode, not like the landscape, and those make sense. It's just more how do you translate that game more than anything else. I think that's the main. I think that's we both agree on that. There needs to be a translation more than anything else, because you can't have a one-to-one thing without having a whole system or setup now.
Yep.
Okay. Right. So anyway, yeah, sorry about this, Peter.
No, it's fine. It's fine.
Yeah, no, but Peter, like, I mean, you have family in China, right?
Yes, yeah.
Like any younger like cousins, I guess.
No, not younger anyway.
Older, I guess.
Yeah.
Do they game on their? Are they gamers? I guess gamer TM.
Gamers.
No.
Okay, no, that's fair enough. Because like I noticed, like mostly my family members in Asia, like in Pakistan specifically, they don't have a gaming console. They just play on their phones because it's the only access they have. That's why I noticed like a lot. Like unless you have these things, actually, what I find interesting, there's a thing called gamer cafes, Randy.
I've heard of them. I'm aware of them.
Yeah, like in those cases, yeah, it's either that or playing on PC. It's like there's no consoles in Asia, more or less. It's kind of weird, except in like Japan. But I think that's a different story for a different day. So yeah, I know. Oh God, my throat's quite dry, but still though. Peter, do you have anything to say?
Trust me, I feel like shit.
Yeah, I know.
mean, speaking of like mobile games, I mean, we've aside from all the topics we've covered so far, I don't have a lot to add on, I guess.
No, it's fine. It's fine.
Yeah, you guys are pretty thorough.
Yeah, yeah, I think we should probably be ending the podcast right now. So, anyway, thanks for listening to the Oh God Why podcast, episode 13. This was special.
Went well.
It actually went well for us all being kind of dead inside right now. So anyway, it's me, your host Umar Awesome, my co-host Randy Modula, and my co-host Peter Liu. Do you guys have anything to say before we close off?
Nope, I'm all done.
Okay, what about you?
My tummy is upset and I am tired.
Fair enough. What about you, Peter? Do you have anything to say?
Everyone, stay safe and have fun wherever you are, I guess.
We'll hope to see you guys next week. See you later.